I'm having my coffee. You know, I was just sitting here and thinking about the last arrangement that I just made on the last video. And go back and check that one out if you haven't seen that one with the big peony arrangement. You know, this has nothing to do with me, but it has everything to do with flowers. And sometimes when I just stand there and I look at the flowers, I am in awe. I'm just in awe about how beautiful they are and how miraculous they are and how there's petals and, you know, just that nature and whatever you believe in or whatever your belief system is. I always tell people, you know, when people tell me what, you know, ask me about religion, I tell them that I believe in flowers, and I do. And so, you know, whatever, you know, however your belief system works for you is super important. But I just want you to appreciate that flowers are a miraculous part of something that we do and that we have access to, that we're able to enjoy. I mean, whether it's that little bouquet you buy at the grocery store, whether it's something from your garden, or whether it's something that someone sends you, or whether it's something that you grow, or all of those different things have different mechanisms that work together for us to make it even more magical, right? And that big pink arrangement is just magical. It's magical. And so I'm glad that I can share that with you, and that I can share magic with you, and that it can be big or it can be small. So, but we're gonna make a dining room table arrangement now. Okay, so I love to have flowers on the table. When I'm having dinner, when we have guests, when we are conversing, when I'm sitting down for my morning coffee, when I'm sitting down for my supper at night, when I'm having flower cocktail hour. We have flower cocktail hour on the deck, and weather is applicable and we can do that, we always take the flower arrangement out on the deck with us, and it sits between us, and we have our conversations over the flowers. And I think about that because, you know, growing up as a kid in a flower shop, we would often talk about, you know, people would come in and say, oh, I need a flower arrangement. And just remember that we want to be able to talk over it, and we don't want it to be intrusive, and we don't, you know, for me, I want it to be intrusive. I want people to say, there's flowers there. And you know what? I have gone to parties before where when I used to do flower arrangements for people and stuff. And we did this event with my friend Jenna at a apple orchard. And they said, you know, we want this to be opulent. We want it to be over the top. We want it to be gorgeous. And so what we did was we had dahlias and we had apples. And we made these big baskets with dahlias and apples. I mean, some of the dahlia blooms were like this big. And we made these big pieces. And then people sat down at this dinner to have a dinner in the orchard. And someone grabbed an arrangement and put it on the ground. And I went right back over and I picked it up and put it on the table. And I said, you know, the person that made this wants you to look at it and look at the beauty that's here. And they were like, well, it was kind of in the way of my plate. Good. I am happy when the flowers get in the way of you being able to eat. That's my theory, okay? And I know, you know what? Everybody's entitled to their own thing. And that's really great. And when I was told to do that, I was not told to make little tiny arrangements that wouldn't be intrusive. I was told to make big opulent arrangements that were going to be showstoppers. And so don't set it on the ground, because that's rude. You know, if you want to not sit by the flowers, you can sit on the ground. You can sit on the ground down there, move your little plate down there, sit Indian style on the ground, and just have a great time. Be perfect for you. Okay? I think that's great. You know, but don't move the flowers. Don't touch the flowers. Okay? I digress immensely, right? So we're going to create something for the dinner table that we can sit there and talk about. And the other thing that's going to be really important about it is we're going to be able to smell it. My friend Craig, who is my local flower farmer here in Grand Rapids, yesterday or Friday at the farmer's market, he said, hey, you're here on Friday, not here on Saturday. Hey, what about my dianthus? And I said, what about your dianthus? And he said, I have black dianthus. It is so red, it's almost black. And I said, well, and he said, I'll bring some to your house and I'll drop them off for you. And I said, okay. They smell like carnations. They smell like the carnations in the greenhouses when I was a little kid. It literally transports me back to walking down. And so the aisles in the carnation house were mud. Okay, they were dirt. Okay, and so then when they would water in the greenhouse, then they would be mud, and I would walk as a little kid there with my bare feet, and the mud would come up between my toes. This makes me think about the mud coming up between my toes in the carnation house. It smells, they smell like cloves, and they're amazing. So this is going to be one of the focal flowers in our arrangement that we're going to have, and we're also going to put some peonies in here too. So that'll be good too. And then yeah. So I think we need to put a little bit of foliage in here first, and we will, you know what? This is going to be perfect. When I went out this morning, oh, seeing this too. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So when I went out this morning, I will apologize. There are little tiny. See that? I don't know if you can see that. It's a piece of cottonwood that's floating. There it goes. Yeah, there's another one here somewhere probably, right? Yeah. See, look at it. There it goes. You can see it. It's like it's snowing outside, right? So we have geranium, scented geranium, and we also have some beautiful blackish colored, dark colored Nine-bark, one of my favorites. I got to get more Nine-bark in the yard. I just got to get more because I want to cut the whole thing. So I need more of them so they don't cut them all down. We have a garden project that's going to happen later this week, and we are actually going to we're getting rid of some of the lawn, and we're going to put in some other types of plants, including some proven winners, hydrangeas and some things like that too. So I'm very excited about what's going to happen in the yard this week. So I am going to try and get out there and film in the yard before that all happens so that we don't miss it. Tools. Always the tools that we use are dram tools, my dram bypass cutter and my compact pruner, my two favorites. That's what I harvested with this morning. I have a green pair that I really like to use when I'm harvesting. And I don't know if it, I don't know if it, I like the green one for harvesting. I tickle myself sometimes. I don't know. I don't know why. I just like the green one for harvesting. You could use the blue one. You could use the purple one. I don't care. But I like the green one. So there's that. And so I'm stripping off all the foliage that would fall below the water line. I also have placed in my vase the Chrysler Professional 3. Okay. All of my vases start off with Chrysler Professional 3. That's this guy. Okay. You can buy it at ubloom.com/buy Chrysal, CHRYSAL. And we just have that link. It's a link to their website, and you're buying it directly from them. So there's no middleman, nothing for you to worry about. It's all easy peasy, said and done, all good. I'm going to add a couple of, this is geranium foliage from my hardy geranium, my blue hardy geranium. And I just like the way that these bigger leaves look. And so I'm going to, I'm going to save a couple of them because I want to put them in, I'll put them in later because I don't want to have them covered up. So I have enough structure in here right now. And now we will start with these amazing Dianthus. So Dianthus are carnations. That is what a carnation is it's a Dianthus. These are grown by my friend Craig and at Z Farms. And I truly cannot tell you. I don't know what Craig's last name is. It begins with a Z. And he is of Dutch lineage, and he is an amazing flower grower. And he grows all kinds of stuff. He grows also a lime green pepper for me that I love. And he also last night dropped off some asparagus and some kale too. So tonight for dinner we are going to have asparagus and kale. I may even make some kale potato chips. Who knows? So because we had the peony, the big peony harvest recently, just all the peonies harvesting. I made peony vodka And Michigan strawberries have started, so I made strawberry vodka this week. So basically what I do is I just I have a glass container and I fill it up with peony blossoms, organic peony blossoms from my garden that have no pesticides on them. And then I fill it up with vodka and I let it sit for 3 days. And it's the prettiest peachy pink color. And it has a peony like tincture little taste to it, which is just wonderful. I love it. And so look at these black, red, maroon. I think maroon's a good term because it's the color red with black mixed into it. So it is a shade of red. And it is looking great in here. Now, look at, so what I've done is I've created almost like a ball shape, right? Everybody's pretty even here. I've got these 2 9-bark over here. But now you'll notice that I don't have a lot of depth and dimension. So what I'm going to do is I'm cutting some shorter and I'm going to go down in deep. So these are like this long, right? And I don't want to cut at the junction of the, you know how there's segments in the stem of a carnation. I don't want to cut on a junction. I want to cut in between those areas. And then I'm going to place it down inside here. And I want to place them at a couple of different levels because that way it's going to give some depth and dimension quickly to my arrangement. Okay, so now look at that. Oh, and you know what? I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to see. But you know what? That's okay because we're going to brighten it up with some of these pretty short, hot pink peonies that smell terrific. These grow on one side of the house where they're kind of in shade because they're in the shade of some peony or some lilac bushes. And the lilac bushes, the threatened lilac bushes. I went out this spring at the beginning of June and I threatened them all. I cut them down a third and I told them all if they do not bloom this next year and give me lots of pretty blooms on those lilac plants that they're going to be removed. I won't remove them and kill them. I'll move them onto the hill. But they're not going to get this prime spot that they have because they're not blooming. I had 2 blooms, 3 lilac bushes, 2 blooms, 2 this year. And I've given them lye. I gave them Epsom salts. I have done everything. And so this year, my friend Christy at Flowerland told me that I should cut them back a third. Cut them back a third in June, 1st of June, cut them back a third. And then hopefully they will then get bigger, get enthused, get inspired, and then they're going to bloom. So we'll see if that's true. She also told me to threaten them. And I said, okay, I can threaten them. I'm out for that. And so, yeah. So I have to tell you, speaking of threatening flowers, my friend Katie Miller, I have wisteria. And I had wisteria for almost 20 years at the front of the house. It did not get a lot of direct sunlight. And so I think that was part of the issue. But then, so I moved the wisteria to the back side of the house where it gets full sunshine. But then I was talking to my friend Katie Miller, and she said, do you abuse your wisteria? And I said, no, I don't think so. And she said, okay, what you need to do is go out there, take a spade and spade around the roots, cut all the roots. Then take your shovel and hit the trunk and just beat the trunk and even knock some of the bark off and threaten it and just say, you better bloom. And so I did that last year. And I had probably a dozen blooms this year for the first time ever. So I don't know what it is about wisteria, but evidently the wisteria wants a little abuse so that it will bloom and be pretty. So I did that. So I'm convinced. So when Christy mentioned doing that to my peonies, I decided, well, okay, I'll give it a try because it worked on the wisteria. So now what I'm doing is I'm adding a few light pink peonies along with the dianthus and the dark pink peonies, because I think it brightens up the whole bouquet and it's going to look good. This is going to sit on the dining room table next to that big arrangement that I made in the last video. And if you haven't seen that yet, just go ahead and go back and look and check it out and see what you think. And then, oh, I think this guy's gonna fall apart. So he's gonna go over here. And I'm gonna tuck this guy right up in here. And I think I need just a couple more dianthus. So if any of you have ever seen me use the green trip dianthus, which is a dianthus that it looks like a piece of moss. It is a relative of this one that is just all green. And what they did was they bred it to make the green part of the back of this. There's like a green, see that green part on the back? To make that dominant. And so that is what is the dominant part. And it doesn't actually bloom. And so it just looks like a big piece of moss. And that's pretty cool. So I love that. Okay. Oh, this is pretty too. So see, yet again, I'm in awe of the flowers. And yeah, I've had a lot of practice. I mean, I like that. I enjoy arranging flowers. I always do it. I try and arrange flowers every single day. Okay. That I've arranged at least even a little tiny arrangement once a day, because I think it helps me, keep in practice. It's good. But when you can take something like that from the garden or from, a friend that has beautiful flowers that they bring to you, I need a couple more right back here. Then you can be in awe of that. And the flowers just bring so much joy and happiness to so many people. Being around flowers makes us feel happier, makes us feel less depressed, encourages us to enlarge our circles of friends. It can encourage people to seek medical attention, which is also cool. It's also a great thing. Now, you know what I'm noticing too, that I shoved everybody down in here. So I'm just going to give everybody a little fluff. That's awful pretty. My grandma used to get mad at me for saying awful pretty, because it's not awful. That's just wonderfully pretty, beautifully pretty. I don't know, but don't say awful pretty. So, but I think it's very pretty. These colors, and our Christ of Professional Glory is actually going to help those last longer. So we have a pretty little dining room table arrangement, and people, you know what? If you're seated here, if you're seated across from me, it'll be about there. So you'll still be able to see me. It's all good. I usually set it, we have a round table, so I set it off to one side of the table. So if there's 3 people at the table, then nobody has it in front of them. When I have guests, we put it in the middle, if there's 4 people, so there's that. But, you can decide which one to do. So I hope you enjoyed this. And these beautiful, beautiful maroon burgundy, incredibly fragrant dianthus from my friend Craig, and making a little dining room table arrangement like that. Isn't it fun? So until next time, keep having fun with flowers.